Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hello, this is stream number 324. Gonna continue work today on the GM, Game Master, or Admin items panel in my game, and need to set up pretty much everything today. And I'm gonna need to adjust the schedule too, because I just don't have enough time to start reliably on Wednesday and Friday mornings. Possibly Monday as well. I'll probably bump it by 15 minutes. Keep formatting. And hello again, Nui. I said hello pre-stream, now I'm saying hello during the stream. Okay, looking at what I have from yesterday, let's see, what did I actually do? Did that. I did that. I can't remember if I did that during the stream or if I did that post-stream. Selecting non-container items. I think I did that post-stream. Fix duplicate entry back end to support deltas, which had, yeah, we did that. Alt clicking on stage. Yes, that works. Shift clicking on stage. I did that post-stream. Fix issue with offset of tile. Haven't done that yet. Add details editor. Haven't done that. Consider mechanisms for holding items containers not placed in the game. Haven't done that either. Okay, so those are 3 things I could work on today. Previously uppercase the N and now it's lowercased. Which N? Oh, yeah. That's because before I typed it manually. This time I used the shortcut in Yada. All right. Need to set up a link. One of these days I'm going to try to automate part of this. What should the goal be? By stream 400, I have this automated. I have like a 76 streams to do it. Yes, by stream 400, I will have automated the starting up the stream process. Copy link to this page, tiny URL, paste, copy to clipboard, test it. Probably will work, so I'm gonna just put it there. Yep. All right, and then close that. Let's have Chrome ready. Let's start the game. Back end, start the game front end. Hey there, TS Just. I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Doesn't one have its own specific URL shortener? I don't know if it does. Where would I find that? I mean, it's probably some in here somewhere if it is. The URLs I get from OneNote are notoriously long. So if I get a copy link to this page, I don't even know if I can show this on stream. Let me do it off stream for a second. Because it might have like all sorts of, yeah. So it's just a huge long URL. And it's got code numbers in there. I don't know if that would grant access in the wrong way. So yeah, I'm not even going to show that. The link is horrendously huge for when you do copy link to page. I don't see any way to shorten it either. You have to update the today. Yeah, I'm not done yet. Let's go to this part. One thing I can definitely automate, I think, is once I have a link to the today's note page, I could have something that automates this. Updating the link in the today command, maybe. All right, and then let's go back to localhost. Hey, TS Just, happy Valentine's Day. That's what those emote modifiers are for, right? Valentine's Day. I wonder if they'll go away afterwards. They'll replace it with what's next. What's next in the rotation? St. Patrick's Day. Are there gonna be like shamrock eyes in a month? Okay. Cool. Now I want to put it in Discord. Easter? No. St. Patrick's Day is next, then Easter. That's my prediction. We're gonna have shamrock eyes instead of heart eyes, and then Easter will be Easter bunny and chocolate eggs and stuff like that. All right. Stream plan. Once okay. Today day 3 of constructing my items panel. All right. Link is in there. What am I forgetting to do? Nah, I really feel like I should have a checklist of some kind. Still have this damn cough. Sucks. I don't start coughing if I talk. Like the text above my head, but I'm not done setting up yet. But you're right. That would be soon once I'm done setting up. Forgot to shorten that. I should stop and consider, do I have enough to do here? Probably. This is probably going to take the bulk of the time. I have an idea about how to fix that, actually. It has to do with eating up some of the margin of the parent element. Okay, so I know what I'm going to put for current test, but I just have this feeling I'm missing something. Uptime counter is going. Stream helper is going. Oh, I know what it is. Hello, kitty. Sleepy kitty. That was one thing forgotten. What do I have running on the shell? I think we're good. Okay, so off to work. Fixing issue. Whoa, what's wrong with my keyboard? I think I need to either clean this keyboard or get a new one. Because I think the problem is I eat at my desk and there's like crumbs and stuff, junk. Ew, gets in the keyboard cracks. Okay, fixing issue with items being improperly indented when container slots selected. That's too big. When slot selected. When slot selected. Fine. Okay. So here's the issue. I click on this box and I click on this gold. And if you see if I toggle between these two, see how they get the indentation changes? I want to fix that. I still want the goldenrod selection, or maybe blue. Well, no, goldenrod's probably better. Or if an item, if a selected item is in a container that's in the list, but I don't want it to change the way it's offsetting everything. So I believe that I can do that in item container as draggable item. I want to make sure nothing else is. Oh, wait a minute. I was on this page for a reason. Playing with Scissors pointed out to me in Discord that this is the third time he suggested that I get this extension. Multiple cursor case preserve. He suggested it 2 other times, and I put it in both times in my notebook, but I never actually installed it. So I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to give Playing with Scissors 10 points. And I'm going to install this add-on. Hey there, that noob. Multiple cursor case preserve. Multiple cursor case preserve. This one. I wanted to give this a try. I don't think I need to actually do anything other than just use multiple cursors, so I'll give it a try. And let's see, how would I test that? Have something like this is tile, and then like maybe have a const tile, and then select both of these, and then say foo. Oh, look, that worked. It capitalized the foo. Okay, cool. Thank you, Playing with Scissors, who's probably not here. And hello, that noob. All right. So, well, since he's not here, let me go into the Discord and go to where he was chastising me for not doing it, and then tell him about it. Okay, Playing with Scissors. I installed it and also gave you 10 useless Raimu internet points. Alright. You can give out useless internet points all day. Draggable item. It should be an inventory also, right? Yeah. And I've been meaning to reuse item container here somewhere, right? Oh no, I am right here. But I'm not using it for the player's main inventory. Okay, so I will do that at some point. Let me make a note to remember to do that. To do reuse item container for player general inventory. The equipment slots are different because they are absolutely positioned within the mannequin. So it's a completely different arrangement. But this is pretty much the same as an item container. Where else am I using it? Item? Oh, right. I might fold this away into a draggable item. I think the only thing that's different is it has a description. That's right. It's like an draggable item with a description next to it. So that's used here. The item with the description next to it. So this element is the item. If a draggable item had an optional description, then I wouldn't need a separate React component for this. So right now it's a pure React component. Can I just drop all the Redux stuff? That's useless, or do I keep it? I think I'm going to keep it, just in case. Alright, okay. So draggable item actually is where I want to edit, right? In draggable item, its divs include the boundary one that I want to mess with. This one here, I think. No? Hold on. Maybe it's tile from tileset that has it. So wait a second. Where do we draw the border and margin here? This div. Oh, it gets style from its parent in the CSS. That's how I did it. This thing. Okay. So my idea was to reduce the padding by 2 here. And then increase, and then basically always have a margin, or always have a border for a draggable item. So draggable item. Is this right? Actually, there are a couple other places I'm gonna need to change this. I should probably hit them all, because it's what holds the draggable item. So Logging in, tiger brush. Okay, so these are affected too, right? So making that 5 changes these margins, right? Actually, it's hard to tell. If I change it to 15. Oh, wait. That should be 3. But then when I change draggable items, CSS, then we'll see a problem. Yes, so I wanted to have an item not selected with border 2 pixel transparent. And I think I want to just get rid of this stuff. And then in draggable item, actually item slot is already there. What is that? Where's item slot? Aha. So I could put it here. In fact, maybe this item selected should go with item slot. Yeah, that might be smart. Okay. So get rid of this. Well, take this line out. Get rid of that. Go into this and put that border there. And then this item selected, just this much of it would be here. Item slot selected. And let me undo the item selected. So just item slot selected. And hold on, is this used anywhere else? This really shouldn't be in index CSS, should it? Why did I put it in index CSS? Let's just move it all. All of this, move it to draggable item, because that's the only place we use it in. This I'm about to get rid of. But I'm keeping it for that. Actually, so I guess what I should really do is take that and paste it here. Get rid of this one. Save that. Shoot. Make it consistent, slot being dragged. And then put this down here. What's going on? It changed what was in my clipboard for some reason. Yeah, less in index, more in target component. The index should be like stuff that's reused, like used in more than one place. But this is only used in draggable items, so... comma. Alright, so it'll by default have a transparent 2 pixel border, but if it's selected, change the color. I guess I can just say border color goldenrod, right? Alright, let's see what that does. Okay, so far so good, except for the empty ones. I have wrong size thing in there. Hold on, what's the style on this? Item container tiles div. Oh, this one's hard-coded in its size, 32 by 32, so we want to include the space for the border, so it should be 36 by 36, right? And that's hard-coded in draggable item, I think. So this should be that plus 4. There we go. And then hopefully I didn't mess this up now. I think I did. I think there's too much space. Yeah, so this is messed up. So where we use draggable item elsewhere in the inventory here. Yeah, proto poly. Style binding is really needed. I mean, the sizes won't change. I mean, it conceivably might if I change this constant. I need to have this because it's an empty div. So and the slots are sized. I guess the other alternative would be I could hardcode the size of the slot itself. Either way, I have to hardcode it somewhere. You change the constant. Is it really a constant? Yeah, it's still a constant. The change is not at runtime, but at design time. Haha. That's my sneaky way to evade that problem. It's a constant in one perspective, but not a constant in another perspective. Okay, to fix that, that's in inventory. I think it's the style for inventory here. I think it's this one. Right, the padding should be 3 instead of 5. Okay, and then the equipment too. So back to inventory. The equipment... also here somewhere. Aha, here we go. 3. I feel like that should be a constant in the CSS because it's in 3 places. Item container. Oh, why isn't this not saved? Oh, because I was messing around there. Item container. So there, yeah, it's in 3 places. Let me put it in index CSS here. Item slot padding 3 pixel, and then we're going to use that variable in the 3 places. So right here, and then in inventory in 2 places. Here and here. Var that. There we go. Okay, there's something screwed up with the width there. But this looks good. Hey there, All Phenom. And Romania Hate, how are you doing? And the Grumpy Game Dev. Temporal context is key to constantness. What kind of games am I making? I am making a MUD, which is a multi-user dungeon. My command is old. It says MMORPG, but MUD is a specific kind of MMORPG, which is sort of old school. You want to see... oh, that's the wrong thing. New. You want to see an intro to my stream? There's a short little YouTube video there. But if you look up MUD Dungeon, Wikipedia, it's a multiplayer real-time virtual world, usually text-based. We combine role-playing, hack and slash, player versus player, interactive fiction, and online chat. So back in, what, 30 years ago, it was all text-based. So mine is also a bit text-based, but I've been focusing lately on some of the graphics in the user interface. And what's that noise coming from? Oh. Hey, there we go. There's George. Let me switch zones to show you what's going on here. So this is from the GM's point of view. I can see through walls and stuff. And if I turn off admin mode, so that's my player character. This is an NPC, and there are monsters wandering around here. So it's a combination of a little bit of graphics, a little bit of combat, but also text-based interaction. So with this NPC, I can talk. I can say, "What's your name?" "I am George the Guard." "Job?" "I guard this place." "Guard." "Yes, that's my job." So Ultima 4 and Ultima 5, which were games in the mid-'80s to late 80s, had this kind of NPC story interaction where when you're talking to an NPC, you just type keywords, and depending on what keyword you use, like if you said foobar, he's going to be like, "I can't help you with that." So that's the generic response if he doesn't understand the keyword. But NPCs would generally respond to name and job, and then from what they say, you would guess the other keywords. Or NPCs would say, "Go to George and ask him about sword." And then you'd go back to George and you say sword, and he'd be like, "Oh, okay, you want one? You want a sword? Sure." Now a new sword popped up in my inventory. I am going to drop that sword though, because I don't need it. Anyway, the game is going to be mostly the story is going to play out in this text window, and the graphic window above it sort of shows a retro feel graphical display of what's going on in the world, and that's pretty much the feeling of the game so far and how it's going to be. Today I'm working on this panel here for managing the items in the game, so I'm going to go to this other test area. So I've been playing around with being able to select things that are items in the game and select individual items, maybe move it into the world, maybe make a copy of it, and maybe move things around the container. So move that pile of gold, maybe stack them together, that kind of thing. So that is there. So I'm going to move that back into there. So this panel didn't exist before this week. I worked on this week. I'm going to have similar panels for things like editing other aspects of the game. So I already have like the dialogue editor. So I was showing before, like when we were talking to George, here are the different keywords you can ask him, like name, job, that kind of thing. That's the dialogue editor. And then I have a similar thing for editing the world's tiles. So this is actually what I started with, where you would pick a tile and then click and drag there. Now I'm painting into the world. If I want a different tile, maybe water, I would select and do that. I made some improvement a little bit because I can now construct a palette dynamically and then like do this, which is a lot easier. Pick that tile, so I don't have to keep going between different tile sets. So I can have a mixture of background and decoration tiles, put them in this palette, and then go and draw away. So I'm building up various panels in the game's user interface so that I can modify the game live. Not a whole lot of games do this, but in my game it will be the same user interface that people use to play the game will be what I use to actually create the game's content. So I'll actually be able to go around in the game world, even have myself appear to other players. So now I look like a tiger, and a normal player would be like, "Oh, look, there's the GM wandering around." And of course, I'm not attacked by monsters. I can move through walls and stuff. But yeah, that's the idea, is that the same client is used to play the game and to make the game. Hey there, Mr. Halsey. Oh yeah, thank you, Mr. Halsey. I gotta update that. I don't want to edit my panels live on stream, so let me just do that. To do update panels, stream panels. Let me take your suggestion. There's that, and there's a bunch of other things I need to update anyway, so that'll be my homework. But yeah, anyway, Alphenum, let me know if you have any other questions. This little graphics thing is not consistent. I need to fix that. It's like I got the height correct, but not the width. Oh, it's that thing. Do I even need that? Okay, that's the problem. That didn't need to be there. Okay, cool. Isn't that cool how that flex container works? It's like if we have enough space, draw it horizontally. Otherwise, it squeezes down to a vertical thing. All right. Am I done with this bug then? I think so. I'm ready to check it in. First task done today. That shouldn't be there, should it? Item slot padding. Oh no, that's the root variable. Okay, never mind. That should be there. That the rest of this got moved though. Okay, so it's mostly in the CSS with this JS thing basically changing the CSS classes. Okay, so fix issue with items, selected items being indented. Selected items being indented. Commit that. All right. So you've been planning on entering this week's weekly game jam? The theme was revealed today, and it is single-player co-op, which, as a theme, you can't come up with anything for. Isn't that a contradiction in terms? Single-player co-op? Am I understanding that wrong? Define co-op. A cooperative society, business, or enterprise. So how could you cooperate in single player? Maybe if you're co-oping with an NPC? That's the only thing that comes to mind, is that it would be a single player game, but you'd co-op with an NPC of some kind. So there'd be a bit of AI work that you'd have to do. Like one thing that comes to mind is maybe, you know, like Portal 2, where you have to have one player stand on a switch, and then another player has to go through a wall that's opened up by the first player standing on a switch. You could do that with an NPC if the NPC recognized that, oh, the script for this area is when the player gets to this point, I need to go walk over and step on this plate, then wait for the player to move through a door, and then go do something else. So that maybe some kind of scripted AI. Switching to the second player character while playing like an Entangled or something? I guess that's another way you could do it. So I've seen a few games that do that, where you could switch between two characters in the game. I could see more possibilities with that too. So you could have game mechanics where you sometimes you can't switch if you can only switch maybe if there is direct line of sight, or if there's a pathway between the two of you. But if you get cut off by a wall, maybe you can't switch. So yeah, maybe that's the right interpretation. Hold on a second. I need to blow my nose really, so I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Next task for me today. Edit details editor. All right. Actually, I wanted to add to this. I want to add make containers draggable in the items panel. I just realized that I can drag these items around like that, but I can't drag the chest itself. It's not draggable. I'd like to be able to drag that. Oh, the other thing was guard. I actually found a way I can crash the game. If I have a chest inside of another chest, then the inner chest shows up. Actually, it'll show up if I close this and show you guys this one. See how this chest has this chest inside? If I were to drag that into there, then the chest will contain itself. That actually causes the server to crash, so I'm not going to do it. I need to guard against that somehow. So let's add this, add guard against causing a recursive container composition. Got chestception going on. Yeah. You're still noodling over it. Well, you have a week, right? When does it end? If it's this week, does that mean you're already like 3 or 4 days into it? Okay, I want to be able to drag a chest, just like I can drag this chest around. I can drag this one because it's in a container already. But this one I can't drag. The outer ones I can't drag, basically. 6 days from 47 minutes ago? So it begins and ends on a Thursday? No, today's Friday. Today's Friday. I guess that makes sense. So, like, you can start over a weekend, which makes more sense because if, like, you're jamming, working with someone, some other developer, you have more time on the weekend. Weekly game jam. Single player co-op. So who sponsors it? Who's it sponsored by? Neko Matata Games. Never heard of them. They have a nice website. itch.io? Or is it just that they're using itch.io platform? I've seen other game jams use itch.io as a platform. So I think this is telling me that these are the organizers and they're using itch.io for the framework. Make heavy use. I mean, that makes sense. It's actually a pretty useful platform for that kind of thing. I like their website. The only problem I have is that they don't have HTTPS. Yeah, they don't support HTTPS. That's a little weird. It's 2020, people. You should have HTTPS. All right. Current task. Adding support for moving containers in the new items panel. Certs are not expensive. You go to 0ssl.com. Free SSL certificates, and it's all online. So I can say, oh, let's make a new certificate. Look at this. So they use Let's Encrypt. So you could also just use Let's Encrypt. They're also free, but they don't have an online tool. But they do have automation tools. So if you want to automate it, you go directly use their API. I like to use this one, 0SSL, because it uses the Let's Encrypt API. But yeah, it's all free. The only downside, I think, is that you have to renew the certificate every 3 months. But yeah, they're certainly not expensive in terms of money. Maybe in terms of time to renew it and set up the tools for it, but all right. So that's what I use for my game. It's all just costs me time to renew the certificates every 3 months. Okay. Moving containers. Yes, so I think what I want is in the items panel. No, item container. I think it's in item container. No need to renew manually. Yeah, I haven't done the automation stuff yet. I'm on the fence with that because if it's something I only have to do once every 3 months, that means I'm doing it 4 times a year. Do I really need to automate something that I only need to do 4 times in a year? And I've got it down to where I can do the process in like 5 minutes. So that means that I would only save 20 minutes a year. So if it takes me more than 20 minutes to automate it, then I'm in time debt by at least a year. Yeah, actually, also, yeah, you're right about that. Depends on how many certs you have to do. I have to do 3. No. 2 for sure, and then there's a third optional one. But yeah, let's say you had 12. Yeah, probably would they would multiply the time by 12, so it would be you know, an hour. You can save an hour a year. Maybe then it's worth it. But it also would be kind of cool to learn how to automate it, so maybe I wouldn't mind spending the time. Okay, here's the thing. Right now we're using tile from tile set. If I upgraded this to use draggable item instead. Oh, the other problem here is it doesn't show the quantity. So it's I'm going to go to this zone because it's easier. So if it's actually possible you can make a chest that there's 2 of them, right? I can go here and set this quantity to 2. Now there are 2 treasure chests there. I would like it to show the number 2 here. So, I'll just show that. I guess I would show it in this other... Right, so here, this inner chest, right? Is, okay, that's the outer one. Where's the inner one? This is the first one, this entity. So I can actually set that again to 2 and 2. And so it shows 2 inside, but it doesn't show the 2 outside. I would like to show, if I created a draggable item, it would show the 2 here also. I think I just want to go and do that. Hey there, Resubaka. Just directly use draggable item. And we need all of these props. So draggable item, which we're already importing, it means we don't need that one. Okay, so instead of tile set and tile, we use slot, which has a tile and a TS. That would mean we don't need that, which would be nice. So slot equals tile is tile ID, TS is tile set ID. Don't need that. Oh, this has to be double brackets because this is a JSX bracket and that's the beginning of an object. So then tile is not needed, tile set is not needed, and tile sets is not needed, so we don't need anything from Redux again. It's becoming more and more pure as we go. Okay, what else do we need? Slot descriptor. Let's use the same kind of slot descriptor as I do in the items panel for an item. Actually, it would be item, right? So refer to item.js. Yeah, this. Oh, and I need the quantity too. All right. Fair enough. The quantity. I guess I need to pass that in. Your friend is comparing an angry wife to a grumpy Wookiee? I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to her face. Hey there, I play poker badly. Let's leave the quantity in 1 for now. Yes. Okay, what does that look like? It looks like an error. Entity is not defined. Because it's not entity, it is... What? It's actually not passed in. Okay. Yeah, we need that. Container entity. So then where we use item container needs to be updated. Okay, there are two places we use it in. Oh, this would make it draggable. Do I want that? I'll leave it I'll leave it blank. I'll keep it out of that for now. Here though, yeah. So it's container. Oh, wait a minute. The witch is already there. Okay, we don't need... It's already there. Never mind. It's container witch. There we go. Alright, let me move to this area and pick that up. And that. Is it draggable now? Can I drag that one into there? Yes. It didn't show the quantity, but that's okay. Now I can take it and I can move it outside if I want. There we go. So I can move this box inside the other box. And then move it out again by shift-clicking in the world. Nice. I think I do want to show the quantity there, even though it's sort of silly to have a container that has multiple instances on top of itself. Just for completeness, I think. Container quantity. And then in items panel, container quantity equals item.components.item.q. This is assuming it has an item component. Do I want to make that assumption? I should probably have it optional. So it would be if that, then it's quantity, otherwise null. Oh, now it shows the 2 there. Sweet. Cool. That's perfect. So, checking that in now. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to make sure I didn't screw up this. So now, when I'm a normal player and I look into a box, this becomes draggable. Is it going to let me do that? No, right. It shouldn't be allowed. It should send a message to the server, but then the server shouldn't allow it. Do I actually print something out when that happens? No. But there should be a WebSocket message for this. And that to work. Okay, we got to reload. Look into the box and then drag the box into our inventory. Right here. Move inventory item. Okay, so the from item was blank. Because why? Because there's no entity reference. So it'll just get ignored then. I think that's fine. So, because we don't know the entity reference or entity ID of the treasure chest, we can't drag it anywhere because... Yeah. We're telling the game a move, I don't know what it is, to wherever, so it's just going to ignore it. This drag should still work, though. That should still work. This should work. Nice. Okay. So I didn't break that. This I can still drag around, right? I can drag between containers just fine. I can now even drag one container into the other. And then place it back in the world. And can I clone it? Yes, I can. There's the clone. And I can delete the clone. Nice. Okay. Let's check that in. Making a lot of progress today, really quickly. So this is a change to item container. Item container. Use draggable item for containers. Commit that. All right. Add a guard against causing a recursive container composition. Yes, let's do that. So I don't really want to demonstrate it now because it would probably cause the server to crash and I'd have to delete the journal and roll it back. But trust me when I say that if I take a box and move it into itself, it causes a recursion that crashes the server. So we want to prevent that. The way I'm thinking of doing it is in the message that goes to the server, it specifies what to move where. When the server gets that message and it's about to do the move request, it should check to see if we're going to be creating any kind of loop. And if so, then we would bail out. So it would be a no-op. So dragging it into itself, I should be able to do it and it should have no effect, rather than making a recursive container. Set parent, yeah. The thing is, it could be nested. So you can have a box A inside of B inside of C, and you might try to take A and put it into C, right? So if you have A, and that contains I would draw this right. Draw it like a file system thing. A contains B and maybe also some gold or something like that. Actually, let's do it this way. A has some gold in it, but it also has the B container. The B container has the C container in it. So what if in the C container we accidentally try to put in A? A is not the parent of C, B is. So we really need to go all the way back out to the outermost container and then look for a loop, which would be that, right? So I'm going to have to get the holder of each item, starting from the one in question, until we get to one that's not held by anything in the world, and then check for a loop. Actually, I guess I could check to see if... No, I need to check for a loop, right? Because let's say we put a D here, and D happened to also be something that was in a B already. Actually, that should be allowed, right? That would technically be allowed. Because it's not a loop. So really is the thing that we're moving can't be in the direct line of ancestry, right? Insisting on getting the top, and if you get yourself, return false. Well, it could be yourself, or it could be anything in the... So you have to check... If we're inserting D, we have to check this one and this one. Also itself. So you'd have to check 3 things to see if any of these... If that can't be a D, that can't be a D, and that can't be a D, right? You check for both nil and the child. If you get nil, you're good. If you get a child, you bail. Well, if you get anything but the child. Right? The relationship's stored in the parent right now. I'll show you what it looks like. This is that container, right? In this container component, there's an items array, and that has the entity IDs of what's in the box. So that's these 2 piles of gold. And so if you do something like that, now this thing in its container has 4163, which is this inner box here. I can't select it like that. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to add. A jump to item. Right now I have to manually do that. So now that container has these items in it. So it's nested. Now I can move it out. There we go. Typically store in both parent and child. I have a reverse mapping from child to parent inside the backend as a cache. That is called a holder cache. Components here. There is a holder cache. So it's a hash table mapping from the child to information about its parent. So this is the parent entity, and also how it's, like, where inside of that parent it's stored. So I do have it both directions, but one is constructed from the other. This is sort of a cache constructed from the parent to child relationship. We get the child to back to parent. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to walk this up until we find one that's not being held by anything. And then along the way, we're going to check, is that item the thing we're inserting? Yes, the parent is the source of truth. Exactly. Literally storing it in part of the container component in the items list there. For players, it's a little different. The player here has two different lists in there. They're both in player, actually. One is the items, but there's also the equipment, and each equipment slot kind is its own list. So I have one main hands equipment type slot, and I also have, it's a general inventory, and then each of the different kinds of equipment are all places where items might be. Okay, so this would be okay, did I update the current task? No, let's do that. So adding a guard against making container loops. Containers inside themselves. And that goes too far. Adding a guard against making, against allowing containers to contain themselves. Equip slots, yeah, probably. What am I saying? Not probably. It sounds reasonable to call it an equip slot, yeah. Either directly or indirectly. Yeah, well, this is just this is good enough, right? Problem is, what happens if I go fourth line? Line 4. Oh, I guess I can go more lines. I'll end up intersecting with my head, and yeah. I guess I could go onto a fourth line. Directly or indirectly. There we go. I'll give you a point for that, Grumpy Game Dev. Helping me out in a little. I'm fumbling with words today. Thank you. Thank you for the help. Hey there, Red Sky 1. How are you doing? This would be move inventory item where this is done. So the tests are all down here. Cool. So only a GM can do this right now, right? So I can just take any one of these tests and make a duplicate. So it's from the GM's perspective. Ooh. Not that test. I want the... Actually, this is fine. This is fine. Call it, prevent container loops. Make line 4 like PvV. Ooh, it would be like you're wearing a crown. Like that. Oh, the crown is too big. Gotta line up this crown. I'm wearing a crown. Too much fun. Only has 3 lines and you don't make them into a haiku. Pretty sure you're doing it wrong. Yeah, I'm not very good with haikus. All right. I guess I could keep it simple. Let's have a prevent container loop direct and then indirect. So the direct would be that there is just one item called a container item. Container entity So it has container entity. Don't need that. And then I don't need that. And then this is move inventory item. Right, so let's copy that. Move the container into itself. So I need to have the key for the items. That's realm server key component container inventory. JSON array. So I need to actually have a slot for it to fit in. So that will be here. So there's a slot we're putting it in. So we're putting it in into itself. So I want to assert that it doesn't actually do anything. Expect no command to be queued. And then let's, while I'm waiting for it to compile anyway. Oh, there's a compiler error. Wait a minute, what? Why are there a ton of errors all of a sudden? Class read. Did I make a change by accident? 5493. What happened here? I must have messed up the file here. Git lens, what did I do? Wait, what? Did I copy a whole bunch of lines by mistake? I did. How did I do that? Okay, so these lines, okay. So from here up, I don't need any of these lines. There. Fixed. You did make a haiku. It's lack of haiku error. Told you. Nice haiku, Grumpy Game Dev. Haiku master. Isn't that a haiku? What rule did you break? Now I'm gonna have to look it up. What are the rules of a haiku? "575. You didn't make a haiku. That's 7. Yeah. You, yeah. You failed to make haiku. No, it's hard to do 575. Yeah, see, I'm no good at that. Right, loop direct. While it's taking its sweet time to link, let me make the indirect one. So I'll have a container entity 1 and 2. I should just copy this whole thing. This is container entity 1. This is container entity 2. And let's put 1 inside of 2. Like that. And then what we're going to try to do is to put 2 inside of 1. So move container entity 2 inside of container entity 1. The grumpy game dev, he tried to write a haiku, but he did it wrong. Nice, play poker badly. That's a haiku. All right. I guess with practice, I could probably do that. So these are both going to fail. Now, to put the guard in place. ECS CPP, we're going to go to move inventory item make command. So here are the various guards, right? Things don't fit, you're not moving anything, so I guess we're adding a guard here. If entity in container ancestry. I'm basically going to make a method to do this, so I just need to pass in the from item entity, and that's it. Then return nothing. Source. Oh, wait a minute, no. I need the to item entity. Or no, the to container entity. Holding entity. Also, I should be careful about swapping. So it should be, I should make another test for if we swap two things and cause a loop to happen. But yeah, another test. So this would be like, there's a sword, there's like a non-container entity, like a sword or something. Or who am I kidding? Fidget spinner entity. And it is not a container, it's just a plain old item. And we're gonna put the fidget spinner in entity 1, in container 1. And we're gonna try to move the to swap the fidget spinner with that. That would cause a loop because that would cause this one to switch places with that one and cause it to be inside itself. So move the fidget spinner entity to container 2. So container 2 won't have a loop, but container 1, which holds the fidget spinner, will have a loop because what's in container 2 right now is container 1. And then these are going to swap spaces. This will be up here, which will be inside itself, which would be a problem. So I need that test case too. To cover that, I need to have 2 of these, right? Source item is in the container ancestor. Well, that's just name. Placing the source item in the destination container would cause a container loop in the destination. And then the other way around. To item entity from holding entity. Place swapping. And this only matters if the to item entity is not 0. So if to.item entity is not equal to 0, and oh, that's a JSON value. Oh, right. We have to do this. So don't compare to 0. Compare its type to null. If it's not null, yes, then swapping the source item with the item in the destination container would cause a container loop in the source in the source. In the source container. All right, so I need this function to exist. And what's going on here? Assignment doesn't match these operators. Sure it does. I think it's just confused. Let's put this... Where? Where would I put it? Probably would make sense to put it with lookup item slot. Yeah, let's put it here. If it's really good, I would put them in alphabetical order. Declaration. Actually, I think that's what I was getting at. Well, except for this is not in alphabetical order. E comes before L, so I guess I'll put it above. All right. So it needs 2 integers, really. So int source, well, and item entity, container entity. Sure. So let's declare this. So go to where that is declared and put it here. Remove the namespace in front. Fix the indentation, just a declaration, and documentation. And this should be returning a Boolean, shouldn't it? Okay. Determine whether the given entity is found to, well, is determine whether or not the given entity is the same as any entity from determine whether the given entity is the same as the given container or any of the entities or any of the containers containing the container. Containers containing the container just is a funny, probably a bad sentence, but that's okay. This is the entity to check. Well, that's bad. This is the entity for which to search in the given container ancestry. Param in container entity. This is the entity of the container in which to search. That's fine. And then return an indication of whether or not that is returned. All right. Documentation done. Let's just have a return false for now. Just to make sure it can build. Okay. I must have screwed something up because... Again, with the class 3 declaration, what the heck's going on? What is up with this? I wonder if something's wrong with the editor. It's like it's copying more than it should. Yeah, look at this. It's copying a whole bunch more than it should. Oh, no, it's not. I just didn't have the... I'm just dumb. I didn't make the third test name distinct. This should be prevent container loop in source. Well, container loop, prevent container loop from swap. There we go. And I could also do direct or indirect with the swap, but I'm not going to bother because really I know that it's just calling this flipping the 2 entities around. Why is it taking so long to link? I understand the first link took a while, but why this one? Oh, because this one changes the actual game server. The other one only changed the test runner. All right. This will get better once I have an SSD. I don't have an SSD yet. What can I do while I am waiting for that to link? Actually, it's already done. So, never mind. Show, please. There are a lot of tests in this category. I need to break this up. But those should be the only two that fail, and now I gotta work at this. So, we're gonna have to... I guess I could call it recursively. I could say if item entity equals container entity, return true. Otherwise, let's say components or impl components with entity component of type container entity. The visitor prototype is a components visitor, so it's one of these. Like that. All right. So this would be ancestor match. Return that. Okay, so here we need to look in all the places. So if it's container, then we know that it's going to be inside of the items list. So it would be const auto items is component. We can name that actually. We can call it container component. Key container inventory. Then I can say for size ti is 0, I is less than items get size plus I, and I can just make it recursive. If entity in if that item entity items I, then ancestor match is true and we can break. There we go. Done. I love recursion sometimes. All right, let's try them out. Direct. Pass. Indirect. Fail. All right, so let's see if I test is correct here. You a cheeky bit of recursion too? Yeah. Just don't go too far with that recursion. Okay. Container is empty. Container 2 has container 1 in it. Removing container 2 into container 1. Why didn't that work? Debug. Mostly try to use F sharp, and as such you fear no recursion. Good for you. Okay, I don't need that one. Go. Item 2 and item 1. They're not the same. But we're going to go into that. Items. It's an array. And the array has nothing in it. Oh. Right, but then... Okay, did I do this wrong? Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. Oh, we shouldn't go into here if it's 0. Anyway, yeah, we don't even need to do that. I could just... This, it shouldn't even call this if it's 0. Oh, wait. I think, okay, there are multiple problems here. We don't need to... So this should be if... So const auto item is items I. If item.get type is equal to JSON value type integer. And that's one problem, but I think the other one is the way I'm thinking about calling this. Pet the Beast, hello. I'm Master Agent Miyazaki. You have to spend 10,000 mana to have me pet the beast. Unless... Are you saying someone else pet it? I have... one of my kids is out of school today, so you might see him walking back and forth. I mean, you won't see him walking back and forth, but you might see him pet the cat as he walks back and forth. All right. Let me think about this. I think I'm thinking about this wrong. If we're moving container 2 to be inside of container 1, then it's going to be... Oh, I am thinking about this wrong. We should check if the container that we're moving it into is in the ancestry of the item we're moving. So I have these wrong, don't I? Well, actually it's... hold on, let me think about this. Yeah, I have this backwards, I think. This should be like holding entity. Actually, it's a third case, isn't it? That means I should have a third test. Container 2. Refer to my silly diagram here. So the one that already has something in it is 2. So that's A. A already has B, and we're trying to put A... Right, so we're trying to basically do that. So put parentheses around it because it hasn't been done yet. Then we want to know if A is in B's ancestry. Oh, I did it. I'm going the wrong direction. I'm going the wrong direction. I'm going down instead of up. I'm just doing this wrong. This is going down the chain and not up. So I don't want to do that at all. I want to use the cache. So just delete all that. This is wrong. Why don't you want self-referencing containers? Because the way that my items panel works right now, it would cause an infinite recursion. So I just don't want to support it yet. Maybe in the future, though. So the asking is the child anywhere within the root. Yeah, well, I was just navigating in the wrong direction. What I need to do is find what's holding the container. So we would say const auto holder cache entry is oh, wait a minute. The holder cache is inside the component system. So this doesn't belong here. It belongs in components. So let's move it out and put it into components. Down the bottom here. Actually, these are all debug methods. Where's the last non-debug method? Invalidate search cache. Right here. Get holder is a debug one, right? No. Wait a minute. Do I have these in the wrong order? I do. That's in the wrong place. Ah, shoot. These are like all scrambled. So it really belongs here. And it's the components class. So where I had it declared here, I'm going to move it to the components class. Out here. All right. Then I should be moving the test then too, right? Nah, it's okay. I can test it. It's like an integration level test, but that's okay. Because we're testing it from the coordinator's perspective, not the component's perspective where the code actually is. But there is a bit of the coordinator where we're actually using it, which is right here. So this needs to change then to go to that class and call it like that. All right, and then now we can say const auto holder cache entries holder impl holder cache find container entity. If holder cache entry is holder cache end, that means it's not held by anything, so we can return false. Otherwise, we need to check. We need to call recursive return entity in container ancestry container entity, and then its holder. Holder. This is gonna wrap cache entry second dot entity. There we go. So that'll walk up the chain instead of down. Build. DirectX and pure assembly language doing what can't what? What can't be done? What do you mean doing what can't be done? How to create a complete DirectX game in assembly language? Why would that not be able to be done? That just sounds like a fun challenge. Yeah, I don't see any problem. I actually don't really see any problem using assembly language. It's just more like this is the same way I think of like using Vim. I wouldn't do it because the tools would be unfamiliar, and unless I heavily like leverage like the advanced features of it, of my tools of the editor, then it would be really painful, but it could still be done and there's nothing stopping you. When is a long not a long? All the time in DirectX. Oh, because of the 3264-bit thing? Ah. Well, Sounds cool. Back to this. It forgot where my tests are. I hate it when that happens. Let's try it again. Run. Pass. Run. Fail. Okay. So go there. Debug that test. Is 2 in ancestry of 1? Perhaps. What's the entity? 2. Oh, this is the wrong variable. This should be item entity. See, debuggers help me spot things. We're looking for the item entity all the way up the chain. So the container and then the container's container, etc. Pass. Okay, this one still passes. Yay. And then this one still passes. Okay, cool. So we're back to everything passing again, right? I'm going to run all of that because it's going to take a minute. I'm going to now make the release build and try this in the test environment. So it should like not allow me to make loops now. That's going to take a while. Both of these are going to take a while, aren't they? But they're at least running in parallel. I'm going to take the opportunity to give you guys a free... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to redeem it myself. I have an infinite number of channel points. So check this out. Look what I can do. I can say pet the cat. Time to pet the cats. There we go. I redeemed it myself. Let me go pet the cat. And that's not mine. That's my kid's hands. Still testing. Is this build done? Oh, I could have done more pets. Feeling this is almost done. More petting of the cat. Always be building, yeah. Time to pet the cat some more. I see that we have an error. How are you doing, Toulouse? What is the error? Oh, what happened in count deletion? An exception? Okay. Ooh, bad allocation. Let's debug that. Okay, it threw an exception where? What? Ooh, we corrupted memory somehow? Oh, I wonder if... I did some work on that yesterday, didn't I? No, it just... Okay, never mind. It just removed something from the cache, so why would that corrupt memory? Bad allocation, what? Oh, is the string null? It's... The string is corrupt. Yeah. What's wrong with this string? Come on, debugger. Help me out here. Actually, I guess it was showing up here, right? Is it the type thing? Oh yeah, type is not valid. What is the component type? Invalid there. Destroy. Wait a minute. Hold on. Holder entity info. Oh, shoot. That is a bug. Where I'm looking at the cache entry, it got invalidated. That reference is no longer valid. Yeah. Okay. When we do this, it's going to invalidate the cache. We're using a reference into the cache entry here, so I can't do that. I need to make a copy. Ooh. Okay, so we'll make a copy here. We'll just say const auto. There we go. Subtle. I should probably have make a copy of the cache. See, important. Make a copy of the cache entry here because why? This is because updating its container will invalidate the cache. There we go. So that's been in there for a while. This is why I should be running my this is a regression test. In a sense, it caught a bug that oh, and we just lost where it was. It caught a bug that I put in and broke a previously working test. And I don't even know which test it was. I guess I'll have to run them all again. I should have marked which test it was that failed. Although I guess it makes sense to run them all again. I'm hoping that also fixes the other tests. I saw that there are at least 2 tests that failed. And I'm doing okay, Toulouse. Thanks for asking. I had a little bit of a late start today because I ran out of time. Actually, I can work on that while I'm doing this. Schedule-wise, I think these 2 will need to shift to 9:15. To give myself some more time. Yeah. That means this is going to end up being an even shorter stream. How long is that going to be? Two hours and 45 minutes instead of 3 hours. Actually, I can extend the end time of the stream. Yeah, okay, so it's still going to be 3 hours. Just going to be, I'll end at my time at 12:15 instead of 12. All right. So I'll need to remember to go into the schedule thing. I guess I can do that while I'm waiting for these tests. Do that off stream here. So I'm going to my extensions. Going into schedule. And for Monday, I'm putting 9. Wow, this user interface is really horrible. 9:15 on Monday and on Friday. And I'm doing save. There we go. Updated it. Cool. Back to Stream Manager and minimize, and we're good. Still have a failure. Okay, so this was unrelated to the other stuff. Cache inventory items when inventory set is failing. Expected inventory, which is items. Oh, that's wrong. Is that inside of a string or something? Oh, yeah. How did that happen? This should not be a string. How did that happen? Why didn't I see that before? Okay, so that was random. The 2 random tests that broke. I guess we'll put those into separate commits. This one I just did, so fix test broken by turning by putting a constant name into a string somehow. Probably when I was editing it. And where was the other break? Inside here somewhere? Not that one. Here. Fix bug where cache entry reference used after invalidation. Commit that, and then I'll go ahead and check this in, hoping that it'll be good. So this is prevent a container loops. All right, so build here. Should be pretty quick. Just one source file. No, it's two. Oh, because one goes into the test fixture and the other one goes into the server itself. The delay hammers home the fact that I need to go out and buy another SSD. So this is update RVS and serve and test. Okay, back to the game. Once it's up and running. It's up and running when that goes green. Going green. Okay. Moment of truth. Close these. So I should not be able... Let's go to the other zone because it's quieter here. I should not be able to put the thing inside itself. Cool. I can move things around in the container and I can move things between containers, right? And I should be able even to put a container inside another container, but I should not be able to put it inside itself. And I should not be able to put this one inside the other one, because that'll also cause a loop. But if I take that one and move it out, now I should be able to put that one inside of there. But now I shouldn't be able to do that. Or that. But I should still be able to do that or that. Cool. I like it. I think I fixed it. So, I'm going to push that upstream. Move on. What's the next thing? I fixed the universe. I did. We cannot cause infinite loops in our container compositions. Add details. Yes. Cool. So this is going to be mostly front-end work. The idea is, like, I want to be able to do things like take that pile of gold and should make it 500 gold instead of 296. I also want to be able to quickly change the tile. Actually, changing the tile is really easy. I'll do that first. Where we already do this is here. This button here, select. So there's already what I call a modal to do it. It's actually a subset of this, isn't it? The direction, well, I guess we can just ignore the directions and name parts. Maybe I can make the modals such that that these are optional. Anyway, first things first, let's find where that select thing is. That's in the entities panel. Select. Right here. So it's on edit tile. So that... Oh, I forgot this stuff. This is like what to do when we're done editing. So we show the modal tile select, but before we show it, we set an action factory to update the tile. So, right, so this update tile action factory is going to be called if this modal is submitted. So we set it up to do a change and update component. And if I remember this right, the argument factory is making the arguments to give to the action. Right, so it takes the output of that modal and turns it into the arguments for the change and update component action. So I kind of want a similar thing here. To go over to the items panel. And I guess on edit tiles is as good a name as any. So the direction doesn't matter. Actually, technically, you could have a directional tile. I guess we'll keep it. You could also have a name, too. Yeah, there could be a name. So, like, I haven't done it here, but, like, these could have names. So, my stuff now has a my stuff above nameplate. You could also make them directional, so you can only see the treasure chest if you're standing to the right of it, and it's invisible on the left side. So I could do that stuff. You know, now that I think about it, this entire thing, if it's the same in two places, maybe this should just be its own action. Where do I call this thing? Oh, right. For changing a character's tile, it's slightly different. It goes into avatar. Update avatar. Okay. But these two being the same, we can make a common action to do this for us. Yeah, let me make a common action. So this thing right here. Let's put that in admin middleware. Don't know what I'll call it yet, but I need a name now. So this action component. Yep. Actually, I wonder if I should. Yeah, we want the whole component in there. Okay, and then dispatch. And then what are we gonna call this thing? Hey there, Nax. How are you doing? Was it Nax Mephi or Nax Mephi? What to call this thing? This is on edit tile, but it's specifically for an entity on edit. Well, it's going to end up calling this one change and update component on edit tile component. Sure. So that's going to be the name of the action. Where does it go in this list? Edit E starts with an E. Right here. So that goes above focus on player. So let's grab it and move it. On focus on player. Paste. And then that action needs to be defined. So here's my master list of actions. There it goes. Wow! Naxmify. Or just Nax. Just fine. Thank you for the subscription. Using that Twitch Prime on me. I'm so honored. Thank you for the support. Let me know if there's anything I can explain while I'm working. Let's see. So that action I just now need to dispatch it from these two places. So it's just dispatch actions that component. Done. And then the entities panel has the same. So I just basically extracted a bunch of logic and put it into a new action when I did that. So testing that again. So I should be able to hit select, and it crashed. Cannot read property dir of undefined because component is undefined. Why? What is the action? Wait a minute. Why is there an ID, a name, and tile set in the action? Oh, because this needs to be in braces. And again, braces. Try again. Select. Okay, cool. So then I can say my stuff here and make it look like it's closed. Cool. And then I just need to add a button. So that maps to onEdit tile. All right, let's add the button. I'm just gonna add it, right? Where to put it on this? Maybe on the left instead of the right. So it would go here. On edit tile. And I need to fill that in carefully. This is tile. Let's see what I did in entities panel for this. On edit tile. Component. Okay, where did I get component from? Oh, it's the tile component. Okay, good. So then I know what that is. That's just I should make it conditional on it, but I guess I can assume it always has one. So component is item, where is it? Item.components.tile. There. I have no idea what that says, but I know it's in German. Just wrote only REST definitions. Need to relax now. Okay. Cool. Is it because you're writing REST definitions that now you need to rest? Oh. Dad joke. Rest equals needs to rest. Kappa. All right. I wrote REST definitions the entire day. Now you need to relax and watch in the evening. Okay. So writing REST definitions is not very restful. I take it. All right. This should work now, right? I can go up here and there should be a tile and I can... No, it didn't show me the right stuff. Okay, let's debug that action. Redux, please. And then click that. What did that do? Sorry. I got a spam call. What is the action here? What's this? All right, edit tile component. What's the component? Oh, it's nested. Oh. This should not be there. There we go. And then this can just be item component tile. There we go. So then it can be all on one line. Nice. It's rest puns time. Yep. Hello, PCL. Brain is fragmented. I know what that feels like. Looking through some old screenshots. What's this? Print text you want to print. P.S. Wait till you actually start coding. Not to get your hopes up, but that's not code yet. Okay, so I can then cool, it actually made an effect. So drop that. Change the direction. Okay, it's working. I like it. Cool. And I should be able to change what the gold looks like. Let's make it look like chicken. That change the container. That's not the right one. Okay, that's a problem. Huh, it's changing the wrong tile. Let me think about that. I think I know what the problem is. I think the entity was buried in there. Yeah, I think this makes an assumption about the entity ID. Let me dig down into this. Oh wait. No, it's this one, right? This one. Yeah, there's an assumption in all of these right now. I'm gonna have to change that then. All of these make an assumption that we're talking about the selected entity. Okay. Then it doesn't make sense what I just did to combine this into the same middleware. Okay, where was I? This one. This doesn't make sense. Okay. I hate to do this, but I'm going to undo the work I just did for the last 5 minutes. We don't want that. This goes back into where it was before. In the entities panel here. Like that. This can go away. Edit tile. So get rid of that. I already removed it from there, right? So the items panel. That, we can start from what is in the entities panel, but it's going to be different. Yeah, it is React. Is it comfortable to have such structure complexity? I'm getting comfortable with it. A lot of the complexity is just the fact that we're dealing with Redux, and then Redux has certain constraints that, like, you're having to build an action. And my decision about a lot of arguments being handled through objects in order to give the attributes names. So you'll see me do this a lot, where the argument to an action is an object with field names, and sometimes I'll end up having the names different from one object to another. So there's a little bit of adaptation here of names. So if I was more consistent with the names, I wouldn't need to be doing these name mappings, and it would just be like that, right? It'd be a lot easier. But I have some name mismatches that we fix up. But I'm actually pretty comfortable with it. Okay, so this needs to be completely different. We don't want that action anymore. I need a different action. The action would not change an updated component. I want to actually just modify it directly. Let me look and see what the... Where is it? Show this one. How do we handle this in the character selection? Update avatar. What does that do? This is essentially what I want. Maybe I just put that directly. Yeah. So dispatch that action. Okay. So if I'm dispatching that action as a callback, really, it's send to game that is the action that we want, and the arguments are given that we're going to construct this right there. Well, I want to see what that looked like, but we're turning it into this. Hold on a second. Sorry, I heard a car alarm. I thought it was my car. All right. Modify component tile. The entity here is what? Oh, we need to include that. Entity. And delta. We're changing the direction. That's why I didn't delete this, because that's what I want. Changing the direction of the tile set and the ID. I also need the name. Right, name. And then I don't need the rest of this, right? Okay. That, comma. There we go. And then I get rid of this dispatch. Cool. So now what we do when we come out of the modals, we're going to call send to game, and we're taking these arguments and making the arguments to send the game to be this message. It's modifying the tile of the entity, setting these differences. Okay, so then when I call this, the entity reference is needed. So that's item.entity. There we go. Fixed it. Bad that you always ignore car alarms? Maybe. If your car alarm goes off and you ignored it, that might be bad. All right, now can I change the gold to chicken? Yes. Change it back to gold. And can I change the container to a sword? Or just close it. Nice. All right, fixed it. Let's check that in. Let us check it in. On edit tile, there's the button, there's the mapping to Redux. Cool. So add ability to change tile info for items in items panel. Commit that. Okay, next, what do I want? I would like to change the quantity. I think what I'm going to do, instead of having a button for each of those, I think what I'm going to do is whatever item we have selected, on the right here, I'll have a form with things that we can change about the item. So that means taking this table and making it part of a larger structure. So if I collapse this, I have this table. I think I want to put it inside of a div that is a flex div. So the table's on the left. And then let's give this a name. Items content. Items panel content. That is actually it's just like this one, right? It's a row. Let's call this one items panel items. And this is flex 00 auto. And then I want the next thing to be items panel item details. Actually, this is items panel item. I don't have that, do I? Or, wait a minute. Let's see, do I have that? I do. It's for an individual item. Okay, so it's this item details, is right? Details. So this is flex. I forget how to do flexbox. I wanted to take. Is it just 1 0 auto? Is that right? Let's have it draw something for now. Let's have it do border solid 2-pixel. Is it? I always forget the order of this. Is it 2-pixel solid red or something like that, right? Yeah. So I want to make sure it takes up all the space it needs. Right. That this takes up what it needs and this takes up the rest. And yeah. Actually, vertically it should take up more, shouldn't it? I guess it'll take up whatever it needs. All right. And then inside of there, it's actually going to be a form. And then I want to kind of steal ideas from my entities panel form. The shrinking container lets the vertical overflow turn into a scroll bar. So I want that in there. And then the on submit. On submit item details. I don't need it to be a table, really. So, oh, I need to actually have that be something. Right, so let's get this out of the way. On submit item details. Just don't submit the form yet. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's actually more like this thing that I want, right? So let me look at that modal. That is tile select modal. Oh, that's a grid single column. Okay, yeah, good. I want that. Grid single column. Wrong place. So I guess I want all 3 of these. So there's a prettier way to do this, right? With class names. Yeah. Down here. Why did I put that in a string? Oh, because it's got dashes in it. I can just do a comma, right? I cannot. True. All right, okay. And then I want shrinking container. And then I want grid single column. Now, maybe I didn't need grid single. Maybe it's this div I really cared about. That would be keys, values, and large. Actually, let's not do large. Let's just do keys, values. And oh wait, there was a reason why these are separate. I don't need a shrinking container. Just keep it keys values, right? And then let's just put one thing in there right now, which is the name. We'll start off with name. And the way I was doing this before is these were using the state hook. So let's do the same thing up here. Let's make these names better. Item name. Use state. Okay, so this matters. It should only do this for if we have a selected item. Selected item, where is that? Selected item. It's a select, how do we get it? How do we get the select? Do I have to actually find it? I do, don't I? So it would probably be better to just do the search first. So, const selected item components equals selected item. If so, then it's items dot find item, where item dot entity is selected item, and then dot. Actually, it may or may not be null. Let's just do selected item. Selected item should be selected item entity, really. This is selected item. Yeah. This is selected item components, selected item, and okay, so first selected item entity. Technically, I don't need the ternary. I can just say find an item where the entity matches. That's the selected item. That's the selected item. All right. And then if selected item, then it's the selected items. Actually, I don't need this, do I? I don't need that. If we have a selected item, it's the selected items components dot. Oh, we might not have the components, so I do need that. Selected item components. Yeah, it's selected item dot components. If it's not null. Otherwise, it's null. All right, and then if we have components, then it's the components dot oh, Captain Stupid, how are you doing? Long time no see. Check out my game, Captain Stupid. Oh, you can't check it out because it's in the middle of being broken. Hold on, let me fix something. I'll just comment this out for now, so that it won't be broken. It's still broken. Okay, because I don't have a new name. All right. Gotta comment some more stuff out. There we go. We have equipment slots with this nice little mannequin. I don't know if you saw that. That we can equip and unequip items now. And there are boxes in the game that you can look in. Oh, there's gold in that chest. Let me loot it. Or let me put it back. And today I've been working on this new GM panel called the items, where I can look at what's in a container and maybe open 2 of them and then move stuff between containers, or maybe just take that item. Okay, selecting the item's broken. I must have broken that. Okay, when I fix it, I'll show you that you can select an item and then move it into the world and duplicate it and delete it, and there's all sorts of things. You can change what things look like, so I can say, let's close the box now. So now it's closed. Open the box again. Your dog bit another dog. Oh no. I'm sorry about that. That sucks. Especially troublesome if the other dog is also not yours. Yeah. Just unexpected paid vet bills. Yeah, what really sucks is when your dog bites another dog, and it depends on how nice that owner is and circumstances, right? If the other dog's owner is a real let's say unhappy person, or what's the right word? An unaccommodating person, or an not understanding person, they might like press for your dog to be euthanized because it's a vicious dog. Depends on where you live and the local laws, right? But that's happened where I live, where the owner of the dog that got bit can make a claim that the biting dog is needs to be put down because it's I forget the word, but like that it, especially if it bites a person. Biting another dog, maybe not as bad, but biting a person, you can have the dog euthanized because of that. A grump, maybe. It's a difficult situation, Captain Stupid. It's depends on a lot of factors. Like, is the dog under stress or not? Maybe they were frightened. It depends on the situation. Who knows? All right, I broke some stuff, but I'm in the middle of adding something new. I'm wondering if this stuff I added broke something. This shouldn't have broken anything. So what am I doing? What did I do wrong here that I can't select an item anymore? Let me look at the differences I have so far. I might have broken it with this. Oh, that might have broken it. Oh yeah, that because I didn't update it in the Redux, right? Yeah, that's where it got broken. There we go. Reload. Now I can select the gold, and I can show you if I shift click, it moves the gold out of the chest. And I can also duplicate the gold. And if I click on all of these, then they're all selected here, so I can put them, I can drag them into the chest if I want. And let's remove the excess. And then I can stack them if I want. There we have a stack of 888 gold, and I can move that back out into the world. So if something here is in the world, then it'll have a go, select, and a close. If it's not in the world, if it's inside another container, then it just has tile and remove. So this is basically kind of like a not a palette, but like the items that I currently have selected in the world, and I can select as many as I want and move things between them and edit them. That's the idea here. And if I'm done, I would close them all. You weren't there at the time. Seems accurate considering your dog is 50 pounds heavier than those she interacts with. The dog is dogging or responding to how the dog's dogged with them. Yeah, dogs are dogs. Just over some food. Yeah, the interactions between dogs can be pretty complex. If they feel threatened, or if they feel that they need to assert dominance, or there's all sorts of reasons, right? Okay, so if the selected item has components, then where am I going to pick the name from? I believe I wanted to... Okay, I need to re-comment that out because I want to actually see... It's wherever that text is. Oh, it's in two places. I have description for a container, and the item also has a name. I'm kind of being inconsistent here, aren't I? If it's a container, then its container's component has a description. If it's just an item, the item has a name. Dupe that in the world so I can look at it. Go select.
Yeah, it's the N of the item. Okay, so should I do the same thing here? So I guess it's a little bit more complicated. Do we have container? If so, it's the container's description. Otherwise, it's selected item components item name, and it's null if there is no item selected. Okay. So then new item name goes here for name, and this is set new item name. All right, so use state is not defined. Yes, so use state comes from React. Like that. What else? Unchanged field. This thing doesn't exist because I need it. I need to copy it from here. Put that above the submit form, I guess? Doesn't really matter where I put it. And then set new item name. What happened here? Why do I have a break there? Huh. Oh. Set new item name. There we go. Okay, so if I... Okay, it didn't actually put it in there. Is that because it only does it for the initial render? No, when I click it, when I click something, it's going to change to re-render it, right? Let's look. Components, show me that. And what is? Let's just scroll up. These debug tools sometimes are like, where are the breadcrumbs? Show me breadcrumbs. I don't like this. Items panel, okay. Not in the table, it's in the form. Actually, the items panel has the state, right? Okay, it's null. Why is it null? Even though I have something selected right now. I'm guessing it didn't update. Oh, where'd the beast go? Dude, when did he jump down? I didn't even hear him. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone to probably go get warm somewhere else. Thank you, JS Just. Oh, and I forgot to say hi to VK. What's that? Ardalis. Ardalis raid. How was your stream, Ardalis? You may or may not be watching an ad. F. Anyway, yeah, welcome, Raiders. If you're new here... Oh, you said it before? Okay, I'll give you a point too, Nui. If you're new here, here's the... Oh. Okay, my bot is a little bit slow. There's a 2-minute long video I made that explains what my stream is about. And Nui already linked, or is it TS Just? No, Nui already linked to how to actually try out what I have so far. I'm working on a new game. It is a multi-user dungeon, which is an old school MMORPG. So this is what it looks like from a player's perspective. So you walk around in a dungeon, or maybe in the outside world. In this test environment, though, it's a dark dungeon, and there's some piles. There's some items on the ground here, piles of gold, because we're testing things. And there are some bugs. You might have noticed there's a bug there where we can still see the sparks flying off of that lava pool, even though we're on the other side of the wall. But yeah, we should be able to do things like pick up that gold. Ooh, I got a pile of 74 gold. And here, there happens to be a treasure chest. Let's look inside and see. Oh, there's more money in here. I'm going to loot the thing. Yay. So, oh, and I'm being attacked. Combat. There can only be one. Will I win or will the slime win? I win. Wahaha. So, there I've just demonstrated a couple aspects of the game I'm working on. There's an NPC wandering around here. Oh, there we go. George. So, a lot of my game is going to consist of text interaction, just like in old games like Ultima, which is sort of an inspiration for my game. So in those games, you type in keywords when you're talking to NPCs. So I would say name and job, which you should always be able to ask any NPC. And then based off of what they say, it kind of gives you hints about what you can ask them about. And there might be keywords that you might have been told by another NPC to ask. Like, let's say Sally told us, go talk to George and ask him about swords. So I would say sword, and like, oh, you need one? Sure. And then we got an extra sword, which I don't need right now, so I'm going to drop it on the ground, but you get the idea. So since this is a custom game engine, a lot of my work for the next 6 months, and for a year previous, is building up the engine. Is there an attack animation? Nah. There's no attack animation yet. There's a hit animation and sound, but no attack animation. If you hit attack too much, it'll say you can't attack again yet. The attack cooldown is not indicated in the user interface yet. So there's a lot of missing things still. So when you die, it just says you're dead. Sure, respawn, and you just respawn in place. And I think there was I put in a penalty system, so you lose a little bit of gold, but that's about it. Game visuals definitely give you the Ultima 3, 4, 5 vibe, yeah. This is, I think when I drew some of these tiles, I was remembering what it looked like in Ultima. So that's why it looks like it. And yeah, and the fog and vision is exactly like Ultima, which is a little bit disturbing or confusing to some people, because more modern games would give me a more gradual, like, light fall off, and for when there's a wall in the way like that, rather than showing it like blocky, it would show a line. And I do have it on my notes to consider making the graphics more modern, but right now I'm really focused on the core mechanics, like looking into the treasure chests, taking the money out, right, putting the money back in, and creating the game content. So as the game admin, I can look at the same area of the world, but then have a bit more tools at my disposal, so I can go into that treasure chest. Actually, that's a bad one, because has a chest inside of a chest. Go to this one. I can go here and like duplicate that gold, pick it up, and put it in the box. So I can manipulate items, and this is pretty new. I did this week, and the older stuff I have had in here for a while, I can paint the background while the game is going. So if I wanted to, I could put some fire on the ground here. Like, well, let's do it from this point of view. Turn that on and go here, and then I can pick the depth. And now there's fire on the ground. And as a normal player, I would have seen that fire just appear there randomly, right? In fact, if I show you both windows at once, and then let's remove the fire, and then put it back. Look at that. I'm creating fire everywhere. And remove the fire. So that's maybe one thing unique about the game I'm building, is that I want to set it up so that people can be playing the game while I'm building the game content. So you might see me in here, or just see the fact that the world is changing around you and know that I'm manipulating the game. I'm adding content, changing content, that kind of thing. Game of the year. Of the year. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you again for the raid. And I'm going to keep working. I like to say hi to people in chat who chat. So keep people in chat who chat. It's redundant. Hello world. All right. Yeah, so today, like it says above my head, I just made that guard, and I forgot to update the task. I need to update that. Current task. Since I had just built into the game this ability to to drag items around. You could theoretically put a box inside of another box. What we didn't want to allow is allow to put the box inside itself because that would cause recursion. So we're not allowing that right now. But I can put the box back into the world like that. So that's what the task I was doing before. The one I was working on now was adding item details panel, or item details to the items panel. Or, yeah, item details editing to the items panel. So that's this thing over here. And it's not exactly working because when I change the selection, it's not changing the name here. And I think it's the way I'm using the state hook in React. I think the way this works is this is on the first render, but when we change and re-render, it doesn't reinitialize this. So okay, how did I fix? Okay, I'm gonna look at another panel to see what did I do differently in one of these that had a similar thing. Not that one. The dialogue editor would have done this, right? Let me think about this. Actually, I didn't do it exactly the same way, did I? So if I'm here in the items panel and I pick something different, it really should just, maybe this should be another component that we render separately. Yeah, that'd probably be better anyway. So this is an items panel. Let's have an item details. I already have this item. Let's just duplicate it. Call them item details. Item details. I probably don't need any CSS for this. Item details. Have you watched Doctor Who? The episode where the TARDIS lands inside itself is fun? Oh, really? They have an episode for that? I watched Doctor Who, but I've only watched maybe 4 or 5 seasons of it. And aren't they on like season 15 or something crazy? That's a long running show. We don't need draggable item. I'm gonna need the state hook. Alright, and let's just clear this out. We don't know what we need from React yet. Alright, so if we're starting from nothing, and I want to pull in from the items panel, let's just pull it in. So that would be import item details. Item details, right? Yeah, item details from 2 levels up. Okay, and then item details will go... There shouldn't be a gap there. It should be all this stuff. So that would be right here. Item details. All right, and then this is the item details. This is form. So return that form. I kind of like doing it this way. That's just a personal preference. Okay, and then I'm going to need class names. I don't think I've grabbed that before. Class names, and then I'm going to want to pull in what happened here? Oh, right. I'm going to pull in this stuff. Right here. Hey there, Apollo I. How are you doing today? Yeah, TS Just is the Turbo Boom guy from Tim's stream. Shout out to Tim. Where TS Just is also a moderator and also has helped out Tim tremendously, including making the teaser trailer video for Turbo Boom. Yeah, he made the trailer and stuff. Yep. He also makes levels for the game. Okay, so we'll need... Should I just pass in... We should just pass in, like, the entity and the components directly. Entity, components. Yeah. So then, I don't need to do that. Or that. So this is just components. And then the entity we'll need later. I don't need it yet. On the submit, we'll need it. Okay. So, hold on. The stuff I deleted, actually, I need that. That's going to go up here. So, selected item entity goes here. Entity equals that. And then selected item components goes here. All right. Let's see what that looks like. It didn't quite work. The prop isn't being passed or something. Why not? Select that guy. Item details. Okay, the entity is in there. Why is the state null? I thought it would be re-rendered. Maybe I'm thinking about this state hook the wrong way. Components, container, description. Go there and back, maybe? Okay. If I leave and come back, I guess that's... Oh, shoot. So do I need to use an effect hook? I think I need to use an effect hook. Based off of the entity. Yeah, so let's make that null, and then we'll have an effect hook. And I haven't used an effect hook in a while. Yes, so it's just give it a function that does stuff based off of what the dependencies are, which is entity. All right, and then what I want is turn this into JavaScript logic. So if components, actually, I guess it's depending on the components then. If components, yeah, if components and components container, no. If components, else. Actually, what am I doing? Can I just say set new item name based off of this? Just go have that in there, and then I'm done, right? Yeah, there we go. It's changing the name up there. Okay. All right, and then the submit should now change the item. So I should just model it after what I had in this edit tile, right? This thing. So it's from Redux on submit changes. Hmm. Let's not have it submit. Let's say on change item details. We don't have to say item, right? It's redundant. On change. On change? Not just change. On apply changes? Yeah, on apply changes. Names are hard. On apply changes will be... Why is this hard for me all of a sudden? It's based off of... Let's just have delta. And then paste what I had here. So that's dispatch action send to game this message. So I don't need that. I can make like too much syntax. There we go. All right, we're modifying. And actually, hold on. We might be modifying a couple things. So I need to break this up then. Yeah, we should have it only change things that need to be changed. So let's have it apply right now. Actually, we can just make it parameterized by component type delta. There we go. And then component type goes there. And yeah, we need to, the entity needs to be in there too. The delta is this delta. There we go. So on apply changes. So here, so we would say like if, that means I need this first. I should put the effect hook and the state hooks first anyway. If new item name is not equal to, well, we should get the current name, shouldn't we? Yeah, I should make that a function. Const item name equals function that returns this. And this would just be item name. I forgot that part. SB7 Samuel. Lovely programming on Valentine's Day. I'm having a good day. How are you doing? And hey there, Venix. You see you had wait a minute. You see you had issues with bots? Yeah. We've had issues with bots in the past. There was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago? One of the bots came in here, and I'm happy to report that my bot banned it within a half a second of it doing what it did. So I don't know if anyone actually noticed it happened, but I told my mods about it. Item names. Let's call this like get item name. And this will be just get item name. So if new item name is not equal to get the current item name, then we're going to on apply changes entity. The name is in, oh, that should be another thing. Const get item name. Component? Actually, that's constant, so we can pre-compute that. Item name component is built from that. Programming is never lonely, especially if you're streaming it because you have all your friends watching you. So here it's container, and here it's item. Whoops. All right, and then oh, this would be null. I am messing up a lot. Item name attribute. Then it would be description or name. All right, so then I suppose we can just say that if we know of an attribute, then its components item name component. Yeah, this becomes a little bit simpler. And then item name attribute. Otherwise, null. All right. Okay, so then down here it's item name component, and then the delta is item name attribute. Takes the new item name. There we go. Let's try it out. Expected assignment 32. Oh, this is just that. Oh, wait a minute, no. This should be return, right? Actually, it doesn't need to be return. It can just be that. Okay, I have like 15 more minutes. Then I have to take a 2-hour break. Actions is not defined. Oh, really? You don't say. We don't have actions. Now we do. Although at this level, I think it's just one level up. None of these have actual actions? There we go. Okay, it's only one level up. All right, can I change the name of this gold now? Gold. Oh, I don't have a submit button. That's important. You should have a submit button whenever you have a form. Okay, where's my submit button gonna be? I suppose I could put it at the bottom of the form. So where's the submit? Where do I have submit on all these other ones? I guess they're all in random places. Oh, like the edit script. There's a submit there. Okay, so we can, or actually, I can just look at what I do for this one. That's tile select modal. There we go. Do I need a button bar? Maybe I could have like a reset. Yeah. It's not gonna be a modal. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, you can just have the submit for now. Right here, right? Did I put it directly in the thing? Let's try and see what it does. And it doesn't need to be on the right. It's just, it can be anywhere. Cancel. Oh. I think it needs to be outside this form. Yeah, let's nest this a little bit. Let's have this div have that style. What am I doing? Class name equals that. And I don't need that. And actually, this becomes simple. I don't need class names anymore. It's just class name equals keys values. And then that's inside the div. And then the button bar's outside. Like that. And then I think I want to have a little bit of margin. So let's go to that in the CSS. Oh, I didn't. This should have it. This should be including its own CSS. So import item details.css. Yeah. This moves from there to a new file here. Item details CSS. Paste. And we'll call it item details. Huh. Maybe this is the wrong thing to do. Maybe this div should be in the items panel actually. Yeah, let's leave that. Okay. So, forget that. Items panel CSS. Let me move that div out. So, where is the items panel? Item details. That. Where is that? Right here. Okay, so yeah, this should have the div part of item details. This one. That should go there. And then this should just return a fragment with the form and the buttons in it. Sure. This could have its own div too if I wanted. Right, but yeah, let's put in a div. Just in case I end up having style that's appropriate for the actual details. So this would be item details again. But that item details can, I don't need to have anything in there yet. Okay. And then here, it's item panel, item details. Where the fact that it's taking up the rest of the space is a concern of this overall div. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, now in addition to it being that, we can give it a margin left of 20 pixels. There we go. Nice and margined. All right. Okay, so I should be able to say gold, submit. It didn't do anything. Redux. What did it do? It sent something to the game. No, that was me authenticating. Did it actually send anything to the game? I don't think it actually sent anything. That submit button's not doing anything. Did I screw up and put the button outside the form? Oh, shoot. I can't do that. So this should be the form really then, right? And then this is a div. And the submit goes with the form, right? And this div is just to make it keys values. Div and form. All right. Gold, submit. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool. So then I can add more junk to this. So I can just say blah, blah, blah. Or ornate treasure chest. Or just stuff. Okay, cool. And then let's add to this. Name, let's add quantity. New item quantity. And that we need a state for right here. New item whoops. New item quantity. And then we'll have to set it again. Set new item quantity. This one's simpler. Let me do this. Yeah, I could make a function for it. Const get item quantity. Yeah. It's similar to this, only a little bit easier. It's going to be components.item.q. And then this is just, well, hold on. It's just components, isn't it? Well, oh, it's actually two things. It has to have, it has to be an item as well. Components and components.item. Right. So I wonder if that means I should hide the quantity thing if it's not an item. Oh, thank you for that follow. Grumpy gained it. I can have another thing called isItem. And then say if it's an item. And then say if it's an item here. And then this is get item quantity. Oh, no problem. Excuse me, a stretch. All right, so item quantity. Let's see if that added it. Oh, thank you for the follow. Quantity 2, all right, 1. Had no effect. Oh, because we're only applying the name change. So I need to add it here. If new item quantity is not equal to get item quantity, then apply some changes, right? So this would be the component is item, the attribute is q, and it's new item quantity. Actually, you know what I ought to do is because this might also be, I mean, this item component might be item, and it'd be silly to have two changes back to back. We should construct like what are the changes we want. In fact, this ought to be more generic because we might have several actions at once. I think I know what I want to do. I want to have like these into one thing, changes. And then this should be a map. This should be a changes map change to a action. And this is change dot component type, and this is change dot delta. All right, and then the apply changes, we're going to build the changes map here. So changes will let changes, well, actually, it's going to be const because it's, we can fill in an object, we just can't make it point to something else, right? So then, in the end, we're going to call on apply changes entity changes, but only if this is not empty. Is there a quick thing to check to see if an object is empty? JavaScript check if object empty. Not jQuery. Oh, wait a minute. What? Not using JavaScript? What does that mean? Okay, I don't like that already. Let me look at this one. Object entries, object length equals 0. What? I could just look at keys, right? Object keys. If object.keys changes length is greater than 0. There we go. Not just equal, but equal. It's really, really equal. So, double equal, I only use for nullishness. Like, if changes is equal to null, because that's true if changes is null or if it's undefined, right? So it's nullish. Triple equals only works if changes is null. It won't work if changes is, what do you call it? Undefined. So to illustrate, in the console, we can say is null equal to undefined? True, but is null triple equal to undefined? False. So that's the only time I use double equal is if I want to see if something is either undefined or null and I don't care about which, otherwise nullish. If it's nullish, then I'll use double equal. Otherwise, I always use triple equal because that's a stronger identity check, right? So like ABC equal to ABC is true, but triple equal, how does that work? One of these would be false, right? Like X equals ABC, Y equals ABC. Is X yes, that's true, but is the double equals? Okay, then what was it? Was it when it's an object? X equals Z foo. Y equals Z foo. Is X triple equal Y? No. Is X double equal Y? Okay, that wasn't it either. You can tell I'm not an expert at this. Oh right, TS Joss is right. So is 1, 2, 3 triple equal to 1, 2, 3? No, but is it double equal? True. So that's it's the weaker equivalency, right? I prefer the stronger equivalency. You can tell because, like, I don't even know what the weaker equivalency does for other things. The only thing I know for sure is the nullishness check. Anyway, I'm not an expert in JavaScript. I've only been working with JavaScript for like a year now. So stuff like that I had to look up, right? And there's probably a better way to tell. I mean, the other way I could do it is I could just set a Boolean flag here and then check the Boolean flag. That's what I would do in C++ a lot. Anyway, this would be changes item attribute. No, changes item component. Changes dot item component. No, we have to check it, right? Let me make a helper here because I don't know how to do this easier. Add change is map component type and attribute and value to if changes dot component type, if not changes component type, changes dot component type equals empty table. Then we can say, oh, and this has to be like that, right? Okay, I gotta leave soon. Yeah, I need to finish up soon, but I'll be back in like roughly 2 hours. I want to get this. I'll make the stopping point be where when I can actually save the quantity, change the amount of gold, and get that to work. All right, so if so then once we know it's an object, we can reference by attribute equals value. Then I can just say that this is add change item name component, item name attribute, new item name. And this is add change item quantity, new item quantity, then apply all the changes. Okay. I want there to be 10 times as much gold, and it's crashed. Oh, I can't use map. Okay. Can't use map. This is... I fail again. I need to do... where was it again? Yeah, here. I have to do object dot keys. Actually, I can do entries, right? Changes dot map, and then I'm gonna cheat and look up how I did this before. Okay, you get an array, so it would be map. The array has the key first. You get an array of arrays, right? So the inner array would be component type, and then the value is the delta, and then has to have extra parentheses around it. So I'm going to indent a little bit more to make it a little bit more clear about what I'm doing here. Like that. And then that goes there. Hey there, Mr. Muffles. Time to sip your tea and hang with Mubu, but I have to go soon, Mr. Muffles, so I'll be back in like 2 hours. Oh, and Calculator, I forgot to say hi. Yeah, unfortunately, I got to be a chauffeur for the next hour, and it breaks my Friday stream day into 2 pieces. All right, can I times 10 my gold? Yes, I can. Look at that. I can change the quantity of the gold. Nice. And then when I select stuff, it is an item, right? But if I stripped away the item component of the stuff, let's test that. So if I just dropped that, remove that. Oh, it's still showing it. I need to make that optional. Item details. This is optional. This is only if an is an item. Is item. Then show this stuff as a fragment. Otherwise, null. That didn't work. Interesting. I can't select it anymore. Oh, I hosed that. Okay, let me add it back. I'll just do this. I'll add an item. Add it back. Now I can select it again. There we go. So I don't need this anymore. All right, so if I now strike away the item component. Yes. Now the quantity doesn't show up because it's not technically an item anymore. Right. And if I want it to be an item, I'd have to give it the component back. Like this. Add. Now it's a component, and I can make it quantity 2 if I want. Cool. Cool, nice. It's easy over there with automatic transmission of chauffeuring when you're going to teach them to vroom vroom. It is easier with automatic transmission. I learned on a manual transmission. I haven't driven a manual transmission in years, but I insisted when I was a teenager, I'm like, when I learn, I want to learn on a stick, a manual transmission car, because then I can drive anything. Well, that's how I thought at the time. You don't know JS has a second edition now? You read the first one online, might get the second one? Yeah, I've heard good things about that book. Yeah. All right, folks, I gotta go be a chauffeur for a while, so I will be back in like an hour and 40 minutes. Until then, let me find something else for you to watch. Twitch TV following. Maybe we'll switch to Adam's stream for a while. Yeah. Let's switch to Adam's stream. You guys all know Adam. So we're gonna go switch to Adam's channel. He is in the midst of transitioning from working on a game called Botland to becoming a edutainment streamer. So the goal of his new stream is to show you the process of learning new things, and it's starting next Monday. So right now he's working on transitioning his stream. Make some rhyming noise. All right, so I gotta run, and I hope you guys will come back in like an hour and a half when I return. But if you don't, that's okay too. We'll start the raid here. All right, so if I don't see you back in here in an hour and a half, I hope you have fun on Adam's stream, and I hope you have a great weekend. And thank you, T.S. Jost and Mr. Muffles and Toulouse. See you in a bit. Bye.